So it looks like someone is getting fired. Yeah, someone's getting the boot. Got to get on. Got to get OUT. Like changing faces. Chime down in the chat if y'all remember changing faces. Who remember change? Listen, that's a throwback right there. That is a throwback for you. Okay. So let's talk about this news with Drew. Okay. So if you read the headline here, right, you will see it says the Jasmine brand. The T is the Real Housewives of Atlanta star Drew Sidora fires a team member for using her IG account to make harmful comments about another woman and says that's simply not who I am. Okay. So we can only assume that it is about a post and response that was made to Kelly's absence on the show on Sunday. Okay. So we're going to take a look at the comment because it's right here on Reality Entertainment TV. So here is what the person said. The person said, I didn't miss Kelly. It was great. I love the dynamic of these ladies. I can do without Phaedra too. She should be a friend of. So a comment that is from Drew Sidora's account says, I don't think nobody did. So that comment seems to be in response to the person saying, I didn't miss Kelly. And they were actually replying to Drew Sidora. So when the Drew Sidora account says, I don't think nobody did, um, hmm, I'll give you my thoughts on that in a second. So then Kelly chimes in and immediately tags her and says, imagine where you would be if you focused on your family instead of focusing on me. I'm not doing this with you tonight. I have carpool in the morning. Bye. Hashtag drowning Drew. Hashtag get off threads. So at first I was like, I'm wondering like, is this on Twitter? Because I'd be missing all the stuff on Twitter or X or whatever y'all want to call that thing. And so now we know it was threads, it appears to be. And so, some people are going in on the comments about the carpool comment because we all know that Drew is unfortunately in the middle of a very bitter divorce with Rob. Rob. What is that man's name? Ralph. My bad, Ralph. Sorry to this man. Who is who is Rob? Anyway, so yes. So this is how I believe we got here, right? This is what I'm thinking it is. Now, let's take a look at where we are right now, okay? Because I happen to also peep this on Drew Sidora's Instagram stories. So I want to read it to you, but I want to pull it up first. All right, so it's a lot going on the screen right now. I am aware, but that's where we are at this point with it. All right, hopefully you guys can see that on the screen. Okay, so I had screenshot this, because I'm thinking, well, let's see what it is. All right. So Drew says, no shade. Truly, I know how quickly things can get twisted in the world of social media, especially during a time like this in my life. As I navigate this transition and move through my divorce, I want to be very clear. I have no desire to tear down or attack another woman. That's simply not who I am, and it's not the energy I'm moving in. That said, I do take full accountability for what's been posted from my page. Some comments were made by a team member who had access and acted independently in ways that don't reflect me or my values. That individual is no longer part of my team, but out of respect for the positive contributions they've made in the past, I won't publicly shame them. I've reached out privately to those affected because I believe certain conversations belong in real, respectful spaces, not just online. If you truly know me, you know where to find me. If not, just sit back and enjoy the show. Okay, so let's dive into all of this. All right. I'm going to take this off of the screen and we're going to actually just take a look at the comment in and of itself. Now, we talked about, and I really want to talk about this because I want to talk about the context of some things that we mentioned on Sunday, or on Monday after the show aired. We realized during the episode, and some of us while it was airing, some of us afterwards, some of us in retrospect, and some of us may not have even noticed, right? Because there are indeed 8 cast members. But that Kelli was not featured in this episode, but she was also heavily featured in the previous episode. So I stated this on Monday in Monday's live. You can go back and watch it for those of you guys who may have missed it. I wondered to myself if that is how they are making allowances to have 8 peaches when they've never had that before. And I said, we will see if there is a pattern of people who are maybe missing from an episode or two. Because again, that would seem to make the most sense, especially budgetary wise, right? And it also made me wonder if they're being paid per episode, then does that mean that that person did not get paid for that episode if they were not technically featured in the episode, right? So those were the technical aspects of things that I did wonder about in relation to this post. Okay? Now, the severity of what was said is what makes me go back to that thought. And when I read Drew's statement and it says something to the degree of, I have no desire to tear down or attack another woman, it would be basically in response to the notion that nobody missed Kelli on the show, right? Which is also a direct statement that could be agreeing with having someone not being a cast member on the show, which typically is a space where no cast member likes to go. All right. There have been some people that have done it publicly before, and it has never worked out well for that person or their friendship or their relationship, especially in light of what Kelli is going through financially and also what Drew is going through financially. They're both going through it with their exes. And they are both also going through it financially with their exes. So every instance where they're not on the show, then there could possibly not be making any money, which is basically what this all, in my opinion, boils down to, right? A comment like this that could seem fairly innocuous really has more weight than anything else, right? Because it's not only that the two of them are beefing about, they were beefing about the business, right? Because Drew stopped by the business and discovered that nothing was there and posted about it. And so one could say that, it's they're still beefing about business, but this is business in a whole other light, right? Basically indicating that someone is not even missed on the show when they're not on the episode is, that's a jab right there. Okay. So I want to say that first off, because I want to give you guys some context and some explanation for our discussion about this in this comment, right? Now, Kelli's comment, listen, she responded and I, I just, I don't, I don't even, she responded. She clapped back massively. Um, oof. Here's what I'll say for Drew and whatever the situation is with regards to her team. For me, okay? it feels very much like an easy out that it was a team member who did this. Could it be believed that this could be true for Drew? Well, we know in the past that she has had a whole cadre of people around her, right? And we have seen elements of a team with regards to Drew. We have seen that. Okay. So it's not beyond the realm of possibility that someone else did make that comment. But in my mind, I'm thinking to myself, but why? Why do you need, especially in light of now I can't manage nobody else's finances because listen, I don't even like, looking at I don't even like analyzing, my own stuff, right? I mean, who does? I mean, there are some people that do, okay? Those of you guys who are in accounting and bookkeeping, right? But anyway, what I'm saying to you is this. I'm saying that you have to be and I'm trying to be politically correct here because I really a part of me just wants to say it doesn't feel believable, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt because I think she has found herself in some muddy waters here. And I don't want that for Drew. And I think that there has to be, and I said this before about Drew in particular, that there, I think, has to be some more transparency with her in regards to her on the show as a character, as a persona, because it feels very much like a persona. It feels to me like Drew Sidora, and I saw it somewhere online. I think it was posted. I don't if I don't want to get it wrong, but I saw this online. Okay, and it said, and I cannot get this thought out of my head ever since I saw it, that Drew Sidora on Real Housewives of Atlanta is playing Drew Sidora from the game. And so now that I have seen that, I cannot unsee it. And so this, to me, this apology almost seems to fall in line with a bit of that persona, as in, yes, it was a member of my team. I don't manage my social media, and they have been banished from the kingdom. Okay. And you don't want your team members tweeting anything that could be negative towards any other of your other cast members, I guess, unless you're maybe in active beef with them, which it seems as though you are. So, who is really responsible? Even though she does take full responsibility, it also feels very much like, well, it didn't come from me. It came from my team. So I'm accepting responsibility for that. And again, I really like Drew. Drew shows up. She always looks fabulous. But I just sometimes feel like she's playing a character, which I oftentimes felt like is what led to the demise of Lisa Rinna on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I believe that Lisa ended up becoming a caricature of herself, i.e., she ended up playing the same character that she did on Melrose Place, right? If you've ever seen Melrose Place and you've ever seen I think her name was Taylor on Melrose Place. Taylor was a villainous vixen. And to me, that is who Lisa Rinna ended up playing on that show. And that is, to me, why she is no longer on Housewives, because she became a caricature of who she was when she first came onto the show. All right. I do not want the same thing to happen to Drew. So, could I break down and dissect this apology more? I could, but I think that the intent is there and the desire to course correct is there. So I feel like we have to leave it at that. But I did want to discuss it because it does go back to my questions and maybe about why Kelli might have been so offended by it that she clapped back in the way that she did was because I mean it could be a situation where missed episodes do affect a person's bottom line and obviously their livelihood, right? And if you're generating attention to somebody not being there and people not even caring, then what does that say or look like to the network? And did the network get involved in this? Like, is that where this went? I just have a lot of questions. So y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section down below. I know we did a real deep dive into this, but I felt like it was necessary. I'm glad she's apologized. I'm glad she has made the attempt to course correct even behind the scenes personally with Kelli. We'll see where it lands and we'll see how this plays out. But I have a feeling that we have not heard the end of this. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments and subscribe, like this video if you haven't already done so.